Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang and the question, is America ready for an Asian leading man? All right. Now, the reason we're going to talk about this question is it was asked this weekend at the American box office by the movie Last Christmas. All right. And Andrew Yang is Asian. This was a platform that was saying, what is America's relationship to Asian people? What is all of America, right? All of them, the American populace, what is their relationship to Asian celebrity, right? And this is very, very apropos to politics, specifically because politicians are so close to celebrity now, right? I think a lot of people are starting to pursue politics specifically to get elements of celebrity that now are attached to politics. Okay, all right. So first and foremost, there are spoilers in this content for the movie 2019 Last Christmas with Michelle Yeoh, with Emilia Clarke, and with the most important person we're going to talk about tonight in context to Last Christmas, Henry Golding, and how the response of America is very, very relevant to understanding what Andrew Yang needs to accomplish to win the presidency. All right? Okay. All right, so that's the framework. Let's get this rolling here. All right. So I saw the movie Last Christmas this on Monday, and it really blew me away. I love this movie. All right, first and foremost, this is a very, very deep film, okay? It is a romance movie, and I'm sorry, if I called it it is a romantic movie. It is not a romantic comedy, in my opinion, okay? In fact, one of the reasons why I'm so crazy about this movie, this is a 5 out of 5 star movie for me. One of the reasons why I'm so crazy about this film is I feel that this film is really, it has the same silhouette as Fight Club. This movie has deep, deep themes in it that link very directly to Fight Club. Okay, Fight Club is one of my all-time favorites. Two of my favorite actors are in that: Ed Norton, Helena Bonham Carter. I'm also a fan of Brad Pitt. Right, I'm a fan of Chuck Palahniuk, who wrote Fight Club. I'm a fan of Meatloaf. I love Fight Club. Right, and Last Christmas is Fight Club if Fight Club was a romance movie. Okay? All right. Now, here's the thing. This weekend, there was a huge question that was asked, right? Henry Golding is like he is the absolute Mac when it comes to Asian actors today, and specifically an Asian actor who can be a lead in a movie, right? And he was given the male lead in this romantic film. This romantic film is structured with it's one of those old ancient model romance films. It has a female protagonist and has a male protagonist, right? And the female protagonist is Emilia Clarke. She, Queen of Dragons from Game of Thrones, and Henry Golding. Okay, now Henry Golding. By the way, who did Henry Golding play in this? Let's talk about Henry Golding. So, who is Henry Golding, right? Well, Henry Golding is an incredibly important Asian actor. Really, really important. Okay, so one, just so you're aware, I follow the American box office very, very closely. I watch it every single week. Right, I pay attention to it. I watch a couple shows. I read some material about what movies make what, right? And so I know movie budgets and I know how much they make, right? And one of the reasons why is, you've heard me talk, right? I feel that entertainment is braided with politics. And in order to understand politics, you need to understand American entertainment. They are bound together. Absolutely no one in mainstream media or even in indie media is doing coverage of entertainment and politics together the way it should be done, right? It's really sad. It absolutely should be done. I'm doing my part to link them together. because I really feel there's a strong relationship between the two of them, right? But I really wish there were professionals doing this, right? I think it's really important to understand the links between these things, okay? Now get this, all right? Why is Henry Golding important? Henry Golding is incredibly important, right? And the reason why is he is the only Asian actor, male Asian actor, to ever be to ever have a speaking major role in an American domestic film, right? Its native language was English, right? That made over $100 million. There's only 4 movies on the planet that are American movies that made over $100 million. Okay, and by the way, if you think that $100 million is arbitrary or high, it's not. $100 million is a blip today, right? Like, complete nonsense movies make $100 million today. The list of movies that have made $1 billion is 20 or 30 movies long at least, right? They're like $100 million is nothing, right? There's only 4 movies in the history of America that have had an Asian lead that has made over $100 million. I'll count them off. Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2, Rush Hour 3. Those are all Jackie Chan, right? And the last one is specifically Crazy Rich Asians, right? And the male lead in that movie was Henry Golding, right? So Henry Golding is the most successful Henry Golding is the most successful, is the Asian actor who has had the most success in American cinema. If you take Jackie Chan off the board, okay? All right. So Henry Golding is important, right? Now, Henry Golding went into last Christmas this weekend, right? He played a very traditional romantic lead, right? Tall guy, charming, winsome, right? Now, there's nothing really special about that. That's every male lead in virtually every romantic movie, right? Nothing special, right? It is special that he's Asian, right? This is incredibly rare. In fact, I can't remember a single other romantic movie that had an Asian lead. Can't remember one, right? And certainly not, that was at this. Certainly not that was hoped, that had the profile that this movie made, right? Emilia Clarke is coming off Game of Thrones, 8 years of Game of Thrones. Emilia Clarke is ridiculously famous, right? She could write her own ticket. She could do whatever she wanted in movies, right? And the reason why is Emilia Clarke is the Queen of Dragons, man. That's Khaleesi, right? The whole world knows Emilia Clarke, right? She's the Queen of Dragons, like, coolest chick on the planet. Done. End of sentence, right? All right. So here, Henry Golding is put there with her, right? He goes into the movie. In the movie, he plays a part-time bicycle courier, okay? He did a really good job with that, by the way. By the way, Henry Golding was fantastic in this movie, right? It is not an accident that Crazy Rich Asians made that money. Henry Golding is a fantastic actor. He is a world-class actor, right? One of the things I really liked about the movie was he played a part-time bicycle courier, right? So he's zipping around on this bicycle throughout the movie. He did a great job with it. He carried it the way a real bicycle people. I'm a big bicycle guy, right? I've done hundreds of miles in Baltimore, Boston, Philadelphia, Washington D.C., pretty much any major city on the East Coast, right? Well, I'd say Upper East Coast. I need to start getting a little more south. But I'm a huge. I have a Trek hybrid. Really, really into bicycling, right? And by the way, this guy was a part-time bicycle courier, and they did a great job of making him that. He had a fixie. I love fixies. Fixies are bicycles that they only have one gear, and they have no brakes. They have no brakes, right? The gear, basically, to stop the bicycle, you simply stop pedaling, and you could pedal a fixie backwards, right? Like, fixies are the absolute pure Zimcane, like, cool flavor for urban bicyclers. They are just awesome, Okay? All right. So they did a great job, and Henry Golding knocked it out of the park with this movie, right? He executed perfectly, right? So now we know, right, this movie has a major star coming off of a major role. It was done by a major studio. They did not shortchange this, right? They did everything that would be necessary to make this movie popular. They advertised it. Everything was on point. This movie is a good example to answer the question, is America ready for an Asian leading man, right? Now, this is important because if America is ready for an Asian leading man, every single person who would be attracted to a leading man in a romantic movie, right, could possibly have more goodwill for Andrew Yang because, specifically because they like the communication and the presence of an Asian leading man. And so the idea of having an Asian president, they would have more goodwill, logically, for that situation, right? It totally makes sense, right? We're all human beings. Like, we function on a particular, stratum, right? And romantic films are part of that, right? Like, what romantic films? Love. Like, it's about love, right? And so I'm convinced this is a really important question because, so let's ask the question, let's answer it. Is America ready for an Asian leading man? The answer is no, right? All right, here's the numbers. All right, so that movie dropped this weekend, and it made $14 million. It came in, I think it came in 4th place, not even close to first. $14 million, right? That doesn't cover the craft table, that doesn't even cover the craft table costs on most movies. That is an abysmal, absolutely abysmal box office. It is terrible, right? Really bad, not good, right? So we have the answer, and the answer is no. America is not ready for an Asian leading man. This is terrible for a Yang. This is terrible for Yang Gang. This is terrible for America, right? America should be ready. We've had African American leading men. We've had Hispanic leading men, and we really should have Asian leading men. And here we have a company that executed well on it, with a actor that executed perfectly on it, with a good female lead. This is a good movie with a great story, and it serves to answer the question. The question is no. This is terrible news for Yang, terrible news for Yang Gang, terrible news for America, right? And shame on America. This is wrong. This is bad, right? America should have made this $100 million release this weekend, right? And it's really shameful that we're still in this space, right? Frustrating, right? All right, now, what does Andrew Yang do? How do we deal with this problem? This is a problem, right? Well, first and foremost, I fully understand. So let's talk about romantic movies for a minute. Who would be attracted to a leading man in a romantic movie, right? Who would be swayed by this? Who would attach goodwill to their voting behavior based on seeing somebody who is the same heritage as Andrew Yang in a leading role, right? We all want to see, we want to see ourselves in film. It's important. Representation is important, right? So, first and foremost, there are a whole number of groups that would be attracted to a leading man in a romantic comedy, okay? The largest of those groups is women, right? That's not all of them. There are other groups that would be attracted to a leading man in a romantic comedy, but the largest is women, right? Now, that may change someday, but right now, the macro level, that would be women, okay? I'm not dismissing the rest of those groups, but the numbers are so low, it's not a problem for us right now in this race, right? Because most people put most of those numbers at like maybe 2-3%, maybe if you doubled them, it would be 6%. It's not that big, but women, there's a lot of women, right? And so this is an issue, right? And so it doubles down on the issue that Yang is having trouble gathering women voters and attaching goodwill to himself with women voters, right? So I feel like he needs to attack that problem very directly, okay? And so one of the things so how does he do that? Well, there's a few ways to do it. First and foremost, Tulsi. I really think he should begin moving toward identifying Tulsi as his VP. I said this a long time ago. I think it's more critical now than ever. The sooner he gets her on board, the better, right? And I really think there's a big opportunity. Like now, I don't think he should do this publicly. I think he should. He's got a lot of money now, right? And his people can start talking to their people. And basically, I think there should be a behind the doors a meeting where where not Andrew Yang, right? But a proxy for Andrew Yang, someone who's female, goes to Tulsi and says, "Listen, we fully respect your run. We understand the direction you're heading, but the reality is you're struggling to qualify. You missed the debate. You're just not getting the traction you need, right? But your value is incredibly high to us, and I really think that whoever it could be, Tilda Swinton, he needs to get somebody to go proxy for him and talk to Tulsi and say, listen, it's all on the line here, man. And if you get in as VP, there's a good chance you will be president 4 or 8 years later, right? And if something happens to me, you're president immediately, right? Like, VP is good. VP is a sweet gig, man. It is a sweet gig. Incumbency has incredible value, right? And so it's not, in my opinion, it's not dismissive to ask Tulsi for VP for Andrew Yang, because he's like historically epic, right? Tulsi's epic, but not historically epic like Yang, right? All right, so it's important. We really need to get Tulsi on board as the named identified VP immediately. It is really important because I think she would really help with getting female voters. Next is Evelyn. Evelyn is a power tool. So one, you have to be really careful. Evelyn is Andrew Yang's wife. You have to be very careful with her. I don't think she has a lot of bandwidth for this politics stuff. She shouldn't be used a lot, right? Because I don't think she wants to be used a lot, right? I think she loves her husband and she really wants to help drive for this. But the other thing is, she's got a family to raise. It's not her thing, right? So I think, we need to really limit her hours spent on this whole effort, right? Not because Andrew doesn't want her to spend those hours, but I think her wishes should be respected, right? And I think she's willing to help, but I don't think that the campaign should really abuse her willingness to help, right? So one, I think Evelyn should be used very, very carefully. I think every time she's on screen, she's incredibly effective in reaching American women, right? For a whole lot of reasons. She was like she was a high level executive, right? So she radiates that brilliance. She radiates that ability to be strong and effective in the workplace. She was strong and effective in the workplace, and at the same time, she radiates that mom energy, right? Because she is a mom now, right? And that's her main gig now, right? And I think she's gold. Every minute she's on camera. But I think the campaign should be thinking very, very carefully on how she's used to get the most out of her with the least amount of time input from her, right? Because Andrew Yang is a human being and he needs to not damage his personal relationship with his wife. That's incredibly important. And I think, going toward, this ain't Bernie, this isn't, Andrew Yang's campaign is not Bernie's campaign, right? Bernie's Bernie, it's so clear. Bernie is willing to sacrifice anything to make it to, in my opinion, Bernie is risking his life every single day for a single day in office, right? That's his level of commitment, right? And I don't really want Andrew Yang's campaign to get there. I really don't. I do not want us to land there, right? I don't want Andrew Yang to get to the presidency and then have major, social issues in his family because they lean too hard on Evelyn, right? That's too high. That's too high a cost, right? In my opinion, right? So I really think there needs to be a lot of care around that, right? We need to get Andrew Yang into the presidency, but we also need to make sure that it doesn't break his marriage in half, right? And it could, because there's incredible pressure around these, around dealing with the press, right? The press is looking to eviscerate every single person put in front of them, right? They're like, we will cut you open and show your entrails to the world. That's what we're here for, right? Socially, emotionally, not literally, right? Yeah, we're not there yet. That's 50, 100 years from now, I suppose. Like, no, I'm sorry. We'll never get there. But I really feel like, putting a regular, civilian in front of reporters is like, you can't do that. Like, you've got to be very, very careful with Evelyn. I think it's really, really important. So one of the things I would use Evelyn for is I would see if you can get a backdoor, a backroom meeting between Evelyn and Ellen. And I think Evelyn talking to Ellen might get Andrew Yang on Ellen, and I think Ellen could really help move toward this issue that Andrew Yang is having, and that issue is that he is really struggling to make sure that he's really struggling to get goodwill attached to himself with women voters, right? It's really, really key. So I'm sorry to bring this bad news to you today. I know that's kind of depressing that America is not ready for a leading Asian, an Asian leading man. It really should be. But those are the tactics that I think we should use to solve this problem. I appreciate your patience with me talking so much about this movie, Last Christmas. I'm telling you, I love film. I really think it's an incredible vector for American culture, American politics, and American society. And this is an important movie. Last Christmas is an important political film. It is an important American film, and it is an important Andrew Yang film, right? Because it very, very clearly illuminates a problem that Andrew Yang has got to solve. All that's my opinion. I would love to hear your opinion. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.